Hey guys, welcome to our podcast,
The XOXO
Inside Scoop, with your hosts Alyssa and
Diana.
And this podcast is for our English honors project that we're talking about, The Princess Bride. And this is for our teacher, Mr. Ovalle, who is a great teacher and loves opening up our minds.
We are both 16-year-old girls who are sophomores in high school who love drinking coffee and laugh way too much.
Yeah, you're going to hear a lot of laughing from, I think, mostly Diana.
And Alyssa.
I mean, yeah, but you laugh more. Exhibit A. But we just want to educate you guys about the goods. The book, The Princess Bride, and we want to talk about main points about it and each chapter, right?
Yeah.
And right now we're just introducing ourselves and what we're going to talk about, but also about the book introduction, which honestly has a lot because the author's kind of weird.
I mean, it makes no sense at one point.
Yeah, because the author
hated reading and writing before.
Yeah, and now he wrote a whole book, which is
interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Which we were reading about the background about the author, and which we want to tell you guys about it, which we read online because,
Sources.
Yeah, our sources. We got to Google that. But basically, what we want us to do is to inform you on what we got from the book and all the fairy tale and fantasy and mystical stuff we have about it.
The author of this book is William Goldman. He is very famous for novels and screenwriting, which back in the 70s, he was really famous for it. You would say, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he won a couple of awards, especially in 1976,
he
right?
Won his second Academy Award.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. Imagine getting an Academy Award as an author, especially being as a child and being like, no, I don't want to read a book.
Couldn't relate.
Yeah, can't relate. I don't want to read. I don't want to write a book.
Sherry.
Yes. Shout out to Sherry.
Sherry, you're going to win one.
Hopefully, one
Love
day.
You.
We aspire. So inspirational, bro. Okay, but about the book, do you know what year it was written?
Well, I know the book was released back in 1973, and it's a romantic adventure, comedy framed, it's a fairy tale, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's her Prince Charming, but the complete opposite, because he's not a prince, but she's a princess.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Yeah.
Why would you go for not a prince? Which we're talking about... Buttercup in the story,
and
which
Leslie.
we're gonna go deeper into it, but right now we just want to talk about a couple of these things. But anyways, he had an author of himself, but it wasn't his name.
It was S. Morgenstern.
Yeah, who was the author of the story of the book, which
it's kind of complicated because it's he's the author of the story in the book.
But he's not the author
of the book.
Yeah, of the book. So William Goldman is the author of the book, but he wrote a person in the book who was basically him, but he named himself S. Morgenstern.
Yeah.
And he was
the story is basically his favorite childhood story.
Yeah, he was a narrator in the book. So he was the author narrator in the book, which is S. Morgenstern, which you guys are going to hear a lot of us talking about him and the story of Buttercup and her love, who very much is not a prince. He is
not also the king either. Prince.
Or he is not a prince.
Or a king.
Or he's nothing.
Yeah.
He
is a farmer boy.
Yeah, that she really much fell in love with. But we're going to be talking about that in the next podcast, which you guys should very much hear about, which is going to be chapter 1. And this is just the introduction. So we wanted to ask each other because in the first...
The day that Mr. Elia told us, pick your books, and if you're going to do a group, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's very much hard to explain. But
somehow we had the same idea for everything.
Yeah, and we were like, let's be partners, Diana.
Like let's do it. 'Cause we literally picked the same book and the same idea.
Yeah. But what is something that drawn us? Like, what is something that drew you to this book?
Honestly, it just like brought out my inner child just hearing princess and like fairy tales.
I think that's what led me to, but also because I watched the movie, right? And I was so amazing. Yeah, it's such a good classic movie to watch. Really is. And especially
like, why not read the book?
Yes, exactly. So it gives you more detail and more specific stuff in the story that literally can bring in your inner child, which I really love. Especially like the princess, fairy tale, giants, miracles, fencing, all of these great things about the story and the book. And it's something that like really drew me.
Honestly.
So I wanted to talk about the little biography, a little like, what is it? What do you call it? Bibliography about the book in the back, which I want to read. So next podcast, we're going to talk about, chapter 1. And we wanted to talk about right now a little bit more about the author, which we just did, and maybe the beginning of the book. So I'm going to read a little bit of the back of the book. As Florin and Gilder teeter on the verge of war, the reluctant Princess Buttercup is devastated by the loss of her true love, kidnapped by a mercenary, and his hitchman, rescued by a pirate, forced to marry Prince Humperdinck, and rescued once again by the very crew who absconded with her in the first place. In the course of the dazzling adventure, show me Vicini, the criminal philosopher who will do anything for a bag of gold, Vesic, a gentle giant, Inigo, the Spaniard who steals thirsts for revenge, and Count Rugen, the evil mastermind behind it all. Foiling all their plans and jumping into their stories is Wesley, Princess Buttercup's one true love and very good friend of a very dangerous pirate. Dang, this was a good little biography in the back. Yeah, a little sneak peek. Yes. This is why I wanted to read the book in the first place.
Exactly, because once you have like the memory of the movie, you just like, oh, I want to go more into detail with it.
Yeah, so it shows a lot of what the movie has, but what the movie didn't have, especially.
Exactly. It goes into like details, and like in the movie, like it just shows like little tiny like I can't speak.
Little tiny parts of what the book doesn't have.
It was Wesley and it wasn't.
Yeah, which we're gonna talk about. There's a lot of tea to talk about: love, romance, also about friendly giants, all of this. Which why I wanted to read the book in the first place. Which who doesn't? Honestly, my favorite part is when they say a friendly giant. Like. Every time I hear about a giant, all I think about is the story of David and Goliath, which if you guys don't know, is a story in the Bible. And honestly, a lot of the things I think about are in the Bible because we go to an Adventist school in Miami, a little private school, which we're writing a podcast about, which if this podcast goes famous, thank you, Mr. Ovalle. Thank you so much.
And if it doesn't,
thank you for this embarrassment. If it doesn't, but
at least we get an A, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully you give us an A, but we really want, other people to also hear it. So maybe, if it goes viral, it goes viral. If it doesn't, we just embarrass ourselves. Yeah, we just embarrass ourselves. So thank you, Mr. Ovalle.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to do this little part. This isn't one of our long podcasts, but next week's podcast is gonna be pretty long. We're gonna talk about chapter 1.
Go into details on Buttercup.
Yeah, Buttercup's tragic questionable choosing of men, especially because I don't know how she falls in love with these little peasants when she's a whole princess. She is very complicated, and we're gonna talk about her her complicity, if I pronounce that right, and how complicated she is on how the type of person.
But once you find that one person, that's the one person.
I mean, yeah, but you're a whole princess.
Yeah, but you could fall for like the farmer boy, like she did.
If I was a princess, I would not. I don't know about you. Would you fall for a farmer boy?
I mean, if he was cute and, respectful, then yes.
I mean, yeah, but she didn't take showers.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
So, and I'm pretty sure he didn't take showers either. But yeah, so this is just a little sneak peek of chapter 1, and it's hilarious, and
our own version of the gossip of this book.
Especially that this book isn't just romance and fairy tale. It's also like supposed to be a comedy about it. So we're gonna be laughing a lot about some of the stupid stuff that they have. Yeah. So I think this is pretty much our podcast for today, and about the author and the book. Diana, do you want to say anything else?
Outro. We have to think.
Oh, the outro.
And that's all for today on the XOXO Inside Scoop with
Alyssa
and Diana.
Have a nice day.